In today's video, I'm going to show you how to engrave a dish soap bottle. We're actually going to do a hand soap bottle. I just finished this one, so I'm going to walk you through how to do it. This is a cylinder, so I used the rollers for this one, but here's the problem. I also want to engrave this soap bottle, and you can see here that it is more round, cylindrical at the top, square at the bottom. So it will not roll evenly on the rollers. So my challenge is to figure out how to engrave this using my xTool, and I think I have an idea. So we're going to test it out today. Before you do any of this, make sure that you paint your bottles. I will link the paint I use. I've shown it in my previous videos. It is a chalk paint. So I'll link that and I'll quickly show you how I painted these and then we'll get started. So here I am painting my dish soap bottles. You just want to cover the area that you think you're going to engrave in. I did one single coat and then I let it air dry. You do not want to heat set this because it will set your paint and it will be harder to scrub off. So let it air dry. After you're done painting, we'll set up the rotary attachment. This is the second version. It's the Pro edition. And in my first video with this, I showed you how to use the rollers. My second video, I showed you how to use this chuck, and now we're going to experiment with the ring holder. I know we're not engraving a ring, but my thought here is that we can use the ring holder and insert it into the top. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Let's see if we can go a little tighter. Okay, I think that's going to work. So I'm going to hook this up to the machine and then we will set up the file. So I just dropped the entire unit into the laser and then I'm going to power on my machine before I plug it in. So when it powers on, it will think for a moment and then you'll see a red light. That red light is really important. Okay, so here's the red light. I'm going to shift my entire attachment so that the red light is kind of in the center of where I want my image. And then I'm going to plug in my attachment tool. So the reason that I plug it in after is because once it's plugged in, you no longer can move this. So if you want to adjust this, you can unplug it and twist it so that if you need to make minor adjustments. I'm going to start here and I'll show you what that looks like in the software and then we can tweak that if we need to. All right, so I just refreshed my laser bed view. So I just clicked to refresh and then I need to change from laser flat to laser cylindrical. And then before I bring in my artwork, I'm going to click auto measure on the right-hand side. If you've missed my previous videos, I do talk about this more, but basically the quick and dirty, where the red dot was, that is where this line will end up. That's why I like to line up my item to the red dot, because then I know that that red dot is the edge of this yellow line. I also have my laser on the risers. If you don't know how to do that, I do have a video, I will link it. So you may need to go back and check that out before you come to this one. Now let's bring out our image. So go ahead and click image and choose whatever image you're uploading. This is a hand soap bottle, so I'm just going to group my letters together and move them over. And I want to engrave this onto my project, so I'm going to click engrave. And the settings I've used on glass have been 100% power, 83 millimeters per second, and then 100 line. The orientation that you see on your bottle is correct, so I do need to rotate my image 180 degrees so it's the correct orientation. Let's zoom in. So I want where the dot is to be the end of the word, so I'm going to, let's scooch this down a little bit, and we'll frame it out to see if we like that, and then if we don't like it, I can adjust it. So I'm going to click process. And then right here, I'm going to make sure that my frame settings are good. You can drop this down a little bit slower so that we can actually see it. My light power I have at 1% because I don't want it to accidentally engrave. So I'll click OK. And then click framing. So framing will shoot down a laser to frame out where the item will be. So you'll go ahead and click the button on the front of your machine. This will not start the design, it's just going to frame out where it will be. Okay, so that was not what I expected. Usually it turns the other way. Let me check that. Okay, so you can see in the framing that that was not correct. So I'm going to unplug my rotary attachment and move it over and try it again. Okay, I think I finally am happy with the position. Now we're going to come back over to the computer and click Framing Complete and then Start. On the laser side, you'll want to make sure everything's vented out the window and then click the blue button. During this part, make sure that you don't look under your laser, just look through the protective lid. Oh no. Okay, so problem. You guys, rookie mistake. I clicked roller and not the chuck. That's why it was spinning the wrong way. I should have known something was wrong when it was rolling a direction that I wasn't used to, but I thought maybe it was because I was using the prongs, which wasn't the case. I have this set up incorrectly. So the H is going to go on the back. I'm going to repaint the side and we're going to try again. Before I paint, I'll set it up. Perimeter is the area that we're going to engrave. Measure the area that we're engraving, 9.25. So now it'll spin the correct way. I'm just going to go to the back and repaint the back. So I'll rinse this off and then repaint it. I'm losing light, so I want to get this back set up. So we'll go over this one more time. So I have the ring prongs on here on the chuck, which I know that it was just a mistake, but man, that's such a bummer. So here's the incorrect engraving on that side, although it does look good. And then I'm going to put this back on. It's still a little wet, but hopefully by the time I'm set up and framed up, it will be good to go. So I'm going to tighten that on. I did it pretty tight. When you're placing this in, you want to make sure that your sides are running parallel to the edge and parallel to the front. And then I'm going to power on the laser so we get that red dot. I'm just going to scooch that over, making sure that my edge and front are still parallel. And then I'm going to plug it in. We'll close the lid and we'll frame it up. Okay, so that is the way that I anticipated it to spin. So I should have known that it was wrong. I do need to adjust it, so I'm going to unplug from the back and just twist it over a little bit more and then reframe. Now that I've confirmed the framing looks good, I clicked Framing Complete on my computer, and then I'm going to click the button again to start the engrave. We should see an H being engraved now correctly. And again, remember that we only want to look through the protective lid. We do not look underneath the machine while it's up on the risers. Let's take it out and let's see. Loosen it. Here's what it looks like right out of the laser, and I will wash it up and show you what it looks like. All right, here's a look at the final engrave. It's not perfectly centered, if I'm being 100% honest, but it's not bad. It just needed to shift over to the right a little bit. Not terrible. May have to buy another one and try again because it does have that oops H on the back. But I do think that's a cool technique to use the ring holder to hold the bottle because it did grip it really well and it worked for the bottle that had a square bottom and more of a cylindrical top. So I am happy with that. Again, I did just use the rollers for this one, much easier. Probably would recommend using more cylindrical bottles than trying to do this and line everything up. But I'm not upset with the results. The engraving quality is still really great. So I still would recommend this technique. Just have to clean it up a little bit. All right, I'll link everything in the video description. If you have any questions or even if you have feedback, I'd love to hear it in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to like it and consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.